a Gorgar board pair, which was pretty clean. I mean, I still have to wash it up, but the electronics were pretty clean, and in particular, the special solenoids section of this board was very clean, so it'd be a great idea to protect this section while you can. The solenoid drive section was clean also. Even this solenoid drive transistor, which is Q16, which is the coin lockout, a lot of times those things break off just because of rough handling. So let's go over what I did to it. The client had already installed the male headers on the board, including the male side of the 40-pin interconnect. He had also installed a Pinitech NVRAM module, which I cannot recommend highly enough. So I took the board on and installed this staple between the back side and the front side of the board. This is the only thing that allows ground to get to that chip, and without that, if this through hole is torn, the board will not function. I installed a new IC14, which allowed me to eliminate these 3 ROMs up here. This is a doubled 2716, so it's a 2732 with the Gorgar image in it. These are the original flipper ROMs, and they're just fine. I replaced sockets at the flipper ROMs, the game ROM, the 6810, and the microprocessor, which is a 6808. These were all these craptastic Scanby sockets. So what I do is I just pry that socket off, remove the pins one by one with a side cutter and an iron, and then clean up the holes with my Hakko FR301. And that is all I needed to do, except add this 5-volt filter cap, which I always replace that on all the boards that come through. The driver board was untouched, I'll say, and so I've replaced all the headers. These are the lamp matrix headers, switch matrix headers. I also removed the resistors that were at these locations and replaced them with 0-ohm jumpers. That was a service bulletin that Williams issued during the System 7 time frame. I always do it to every driver board that comes through here, even though the board may not be, at this time, for a System 7 board, but who knows where these boards are going to end up. Replace the headers over here for the solenoid drives. Special solenoid switches, special solenoid drives, solenoids 1 through 8, and solenoids 9 through 16. Replace the female side of this header, added a blanking indication, and I got to get a label on there to let the client know what that means. And she's good to go. So let's boot it up. Since it's got NVRAM in it, it's going to boot right into game mode. So over on the upper right, you'll see what the LEDs do when it powers on, and on the left is the display. So it looks like it's snaking across there like a centipede game, but that's because there's interaction with the fluorescent lights. And if I get up close, that goes away. I just set the game to free play, and when you do that, the coin lockout coil doesn't turn on, which that threw me for a loop the first time I ever noticed that. So let's get into test, and if I can get my buttonology correct here, let me show you what the LEDs do when you enter test with a properly working MPU board. That is normal. And then over on the displays, they're blank. I get those going. Display test. And that's working perfectly. The next test is lamp test. And again, that is working perfectly also. And the next test is solenoid test. Those 2 orange LEDs that turned on at the same time as you could hear a relay clicking. Those are the flipper ground connections. And that is the way they are supposed to work. We're into the special solenoids right now. And those all work properly. Let me drive these from a switch. And I can show you something. I've got another video coming up. I already did a video on System 11, the OST, or All Your Solenoids Are Belong to Us device that Victor made. The problem with special solenoids on Williams 3 through 11 is, as long as the solenoid associated switch, like a pop bumper or a slingshot, is closed, that special solenoid will be on, just like this LED is indicating at this time. And if there was a coil attached, that coil would be turned on and it'd be going by about now. So there is a solution to that. Look for a forthcoming video. Okay, on to switch test. Sorry. And Gorgar has 44 switches. So I'm going to move up through the diagonal of the switch matrix until I get to 43, 44. Very nice. And then we're into audits and adjustments. And if I go up to 18, I've already set that to 0, which is the way that you set these games to free play. System 11 moved that audit to 23. Darn them. So now I'm going to power off and then back on. And we are good to go. Lamp matrix is operating normally. No coils turned on. It's a happy day in Gorgar land. So we can get this back to the client, assuming he's got a working power supply and sound and speech boards. We're going to be able to hear Gorgar speaks. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great weekend.